Okay, so also from my side, a wonderful good afternoon to everybody, to all the coaches, to Israel. It's a great honor and a great pleasure to speak, but it's also for me the first time to speak over a Zoom platform. And after this, the experience will be more because I do it the first time. Let me say some sentences to our situation. Also here in Austria, I think it's similar to Israel, difficult situation, but after some very, very difficult weeks, we go forward step by step to reopen the whole situation. So the shops are opening and step by step, the government tries to come back to normal life. What does it mean in football? In football, they cancelled all the amateur football, the women's football, the children's football, and only the discussion is about the professional football. In my opinion, I think they will also cut the second league in Austria, and the great goal is, and they are very optimistic, to play the first league till the end. I think it's similar to the Israel situation, and let me say on this point, take care, stay safe, and I wish you all the best. And I hope that we can come out of this crisis stronger than before. Because always in my life, defeats or crises are also chances to make new steps, to make new concepts, to make new developments, and also to go forward. I think we should not be very sad in this crisis. We should think forward. We should go forward and try to improve our Israeli football. When we speak about international football and especially about trends in international football, I think it's very, very important to know the international football. And without studying the international football, different situations and different phases of the game. Build up, transition, set pieces. Of course, we must also speak about the defense, but it's not possible in one presentation. What is totally clear for coaches, the benchmarks are the World Cup, the Euro, the Confed Cup, and today, mostly I'm speaking about Champions League. Champions League, the highest level of club football, the best players, and we always analyze as observers the last 16 to give these trends to all the coaches all over the world, with FIFA together and also in Europe to all associations so that it is coming to all clubs, so that you can use these materials. For me, the whole game, the question is, how do they play at the highest level? And we spoke a little bit now about offense. There is on the one side the build-up, on the other side the position play, with, of course, creativity. We have seen a wonderful transition by the Belgium team. Very important also the defense, the behavior after losing the ball, the organization of the team, and of course, the pressing out of 3 zones. I spoke about the set pieces, and at the end, often individuality decides. And what we also try to educate in the IFA with our national teams is tactical flexibility. It's not so as it was in former years that only the players have to learn one system. We try to be very flexible in offense, in defense, in transition. We change systems in defense and offense so that we can be more flexible for our opponents. And when we look at the game, we have to ask, what is the real game? How do we want to play? How is our picture of football? how is our identity in Israel of football, and what are the consequences out of this analyzing for our training sessions, for our coach education, and for our education of players, the talent development. One of the greatest players, Andrei Shevchenko, he said, he's now a national team coach of Belarus, he's of Ukraine, excuse me, of Ukraine. And he was very young when he was together with me in Lyon in education for pro license. But he was very, very motivated to become a wonderful coach. He started in the association and he is now national team coach and qualified for the Euro, very successful. And he said, the game is a key factor for building the training process. All activities, what you use, should be close to the game. Also the intensity, the structure, the dynamic, very, very game related. And when we speak about game related, we are coming to reality. The reality of the game, it must be in our training sessions. So for me are two very important points. The first is all activities should be planned and executed based on the real game. So it means, coaches, do nothing out of the game. If you cannot find your exercise in the game, if you cannot find your small-sided game in the real game, if you cannot find your shooting exercise, your passing exercise, your tactical exercise in the game, don't do it. Because you will not have a benefit in the game. And the second is, during these training sessions, the learning environment must be adapted like or as close to the real game, to the realistic situation. This we call reality-based, and we want to be also in our coach education, very reality-based, no only theoretical parts. It must be always a relationship to the game. And for this, we created also an IFA game philosophy. Believe me, coaches, we are working on an app, on a very modern app, so that everybody can share this game philosophy. And this game philosophy consists of 8 general principles, 11 playing principles, our playing system and the position tasks, of course, the offense, the build-up and the finishing in 3 zones, the defense with the zonal defending and pressing, also out of 3 zones, transition out of 3 zones. We have seen Belgium from zone 1, but it can also be a transition in zone 2, out of midfield pressing, and also in the last third, I will speak about this. And the set pieces, and the last part is to give training principles and training exercises in this philosophy. I hope that we can finish our work in this app till the end of the year, so that we can hand out it to all coaches all over the country. The most important when we speak about international football are goals. Goals decide about winning and losing. This is clear. So if we go inside, we have here a statistic over the last decade in Champions League. You see here over the long term, the goals are becoming more. Of course, it goes back, it goes up, it goes a little bit back, it goes up, it goes a little bit back, goes up. But over the long term, you see more goals. Do we have better players? Do we have better strikers? Do we have not so good organization in defense? Do we have not qualified enough defenders? About this, we have to think and to discuss as in Coaches Forum. But The most important is, how are the goals scored? And this overview is very interesting. These are the goals of the last season, 366 goals. You see the individual action, shots from distance, long passes, through balls, combination game, and the set pieces. And I want to highlight out of these goals 2 parts. The first part are the set pieces. You must imagine 100 goals, 1/3 of these goals are scored out of set pieces. And if you look here clear, we must not speak about the throw-in. We must not speak about the penalties. We must not speak about indirect or direct free kicks, because this is a normal situation and it's not worth to discuss. But what we have to discuss is corner kicks. 42 goals out of corner kicks. And here it's interesting what's going on. Back to these statistics. Besides the set pieces, there is a second number which we have to speak, to discuss. Here in the middle. 94 crosses and cutbacks. Of course, we often speak in education about wing play, but especially the cutbacks, when players are dribbling down to the corner line and give the ball back in a free space because the defenders are running against the goal, is very interesting in international football. Let me show you here, out of Champions League, 366 goals. You can see here the area where the goals are scored. You have it beside. 316 goals inside the box. Only 50 goals outside the box. And also very interesting is 167 goals with 1 touch. And 199 with 2 and more touches. So if you can read this statistic, we have to train in our training sessions, very game related, what we can see here. Let me have a look also to the World Cup. Is here a difference? No. You see in blue, 1 touch finishing. Also the area you can see here between 5-meter line and 16-meter line, here the goals are scored. And if it is in this way, we have to react as coaches. We have to do the right thing. We have to give for the players exactly the game situation. 1 touch. This is exactly what he must have in the game, or also a movement and a second. You can see it now with different players. Simple exercise, but very effective. And look also on the output, on the goals. I think we have to do it better, as national players are doing here. It can be more concentrated, with more focus. Now is Munas doing? Yes? Because in the game there is often only 1 chance. And the focus and the concentration must be very, very high. You see again, Eran, he's very focused and concentrated. And this is about his success. And of course, to train also with the whole team or with a group of the team, and to do also here crosses or cutbacks, that the players are coming exactly in this position as we have spoken before. Also here, we can a little bit criticize the concentration, the technique, yeah? the focus on the exercise and the quality. Yes, here to coach is necessary. Always important to do both sides. But they are coming exactly in this position, what I have spoken before. And the last one is also to give, you can see it here, to give goals to the player is important. So to give him the contacts and where he has to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Where he has to shoot the ball.
Okay.
You can see it now. Aaron is coming, one touch, and the ball must be here. He was not satisfied.
Okay.
Yeah. So very good exercise also in talent development. The next question, what we have to speak is, how are the goals created? What are the consequences out of this for our education and, of course, for the training with professional players or high amateur players? So, when you hear a wonderful overview, let me explain a little bit. You see here the playing direction. It's out of the first half of Ajax against Real, first half Liverpool against Bayern, and Schalke against Men. The direction is clear. And what is the result? You can see here, the last third of the game, of the pitch, you see it exactly. 50.6% of all goals came from regains in the final third. So it's very important for us, for the coaches, for our playing style. If you think about this and your training session and your playing philosophy, you can react out of this statistic. In our playing philosophy, we try to bring situations where we can give high pressing and win the ball. So you see here, the area where we want to win the ball. So the ball is played on this side, but our goal is to win here the ball. So when the opponent is playing here, we prepare for pressing number 5. So the goalkeeper, for example, plays to number 3. He gives the ball here. He has no chance to go forward, so he gives the ball back. And now we want to have the ball here to number 5. And during this ball run, during this passing, the players are moving. Especially in the last line, coming inside, coming inside, coming inside, marking number 9, going forward and closing this passing line. Number 11, press him. He's coming here, that he cannot give a back pass or also to go here. So if we anticipate here, we can also cut the pass here, if it is possible. And out of this position, we get in these top situations to score a goal. In our playing philosophy, we created here highway to the goal. We call it highway to the goal because this area here, we gave the name highway. So if you press, for example, here, and you win the ball, our players know exactly to sprint this highway. And the player who is winning the ball knows exactly to play the ball on this highway. So you can see it. Directly way to the goal. In zone 3, we search the direct way to the goal. We search 1-1 situations in this area, and we come with many players as possible into the box to score. So out of this situation, 94 goals have been scored out of 366. An amazing number. But if we speak about pressure on the team, of course, your team will also get pressure. So it's not only important to train to give pressure, how we handle pressure is also important to train. How can we manage pressure? You will see it afterwards. We can play in beyond. We can play through the pressure. We can play around the pressure or diagonal or switch the game. And of course, we can play for security, for safety, for not making folks back. But the own goal must always be controlling the game in build-up. And for this, the players must be quality players. In our playing philosophy, we have the goal to control the game, not to go back, not to have fear about the opponent. We want to play. We want to play against Spain, against England, against Italy. We want to play. We want to create the game. And in zone one, for me, very important is the quality passing. When we have spoken now about faults, mistakes, so it's our great goal. We know exactly the chance to score is the highest if we make faults in build-up in zone one. We try to play vertical and diagonal to come in zone two and to come in zone three. And of course, also, we want to have defenders, center backs, full backs, dribbling in zone two and creating numerical advantage when they go forward. A small example out of our playing philosophy. Let me explain. We play with 3 central defenders. So the positioning of the defenders is near to the goalkeeper, and we have the 3rd central defender here. Our midfielders are between the lines, and you see the circle. On the side, we have space here and here. And now it's on the blue team what they are doing. In my opinion, there are many possibilities, but let me explain 2. If we play the ball here and he is pressing, we can play through. If he is cutting this line, we play, as you see here, outside. But also to play to the defender and to play back means that the blue team has to move. And out of this movement, we have to find the free player. Normally, they cannot go out or here go out. Then we have here players between. So if it's a good positioning in build-up in zone 1, it's difficult for the opponent to block you or to press you. In zone 2, we try to also play with a flat passing. With diagonal passes, we try to give dribblings in zone 3, to come in zone 3. And for me, the most important is the moving without the ball in this area, to always create free players, the ball off movement between the lines, and also the runs behind the lines. This is the most important. And the goal is in zone 3, the overlapping, the wing play, the splitting passes. We have spoken about crosses and cutbacks. The 3rd player, it's for me clear. The player with the ball is the 1st player. The player who receives the ball is the 2nd player. And the movement is coming from and the creating of the game is coming from the 3rd player, the ball off movement. The runs behind the last 4, the partnership between strikers and so on. We try to have dribblings in the box shots on target, consequent finishing, and of course, goals. Goals, this is where we can win the game. I have spoken about positioning. You see here, Belgium, the #1 of the world. We have spoken about the positioning in zone 1. Here, you can see an excellent positioning in zone 3. One, 2, 3 players making the pitch wide and also deep. We have Lukaku, we have here De Bruyne, we have Chadli. Chadli, the left defender in a 3-4-3, is very high, similar to a winger. We have here the 2 midfielders and the 3 defenders. Of course, he can come a little bit more up so that he is free in a better position for a combination game. But this is out of a qualifying game against Scotland. And you can see it's not only theory, they are bringing the theory on the pitch. Let's see another picture of Belgium. Here also the fullback, right fullback, very high. Chadli on the other side, very high. You see the 2 midfielders, you do not see the last line. And you have here De Bruyne, you have Mertens, he can come a little bit more between the lines. And you have Lukaku going between the 2 central defenders. An excellent formation. There is no player cutting away something from the pitch because he's here inside. They use the whole pitch in this position, and they can move the ball. They can bring Scotland in a terrible situation because it's difficult to play against this position game of Belgium. The last interesting question is how many passes in average you have to play for a goal. Now I can ask, what do you think? Are these 2 passes, 5 passes, 10 passes, as it is tiki-taka in former years in Spain? You have here the result of the 16 best teams last season in Champions League. 2017-18 season, 4.3 passes in average. And 2018-19, 3.89 passes in average. So, in my opinion, it belongs a little bit from which team we are speaking. And if you see the numbers of the teams, so you have Real, you have Barcelona, you have Dortmund, but you have also Ajax, you have Liverpool. So if you compare Barcelona to Liverpool, it's a big gap between. I know him very well, Thomas Tuchel. He was coach in Mainz. He was also in Dortmund coach. And now he is in Paris coach. And I think he is a very clever coach and thinking always about new trends in football. And he said in one presentation, in one discussion, it all depends on the quality of your players. If you don't have the capacity or quality, it won't help the team. But you as a coach, you have to adapt. You cannot say, I do not have the player. I do not have the quality. You have to adapt your system and your playing style. Distance is a principle. How many players press is a principle. And he says it also on the point, the decisions are taken by the players on the pitch. Not you on the line can take the decision. The players are taking the decisions. And in my opinion, when I am allowed to add something, the detail decides about quality players. In our IFA, we are working on this individuality. If this individuality decides in international football, we have to give more importance to this individual education. So we created Project 22. I think the most important is the individual quality. And in this project, the player is the project. We try to make in our database profiles of players. Out of these profiles of players, we create objectives. And for these objectives, we need individual programs, individual training programs, and this we want to implement on the pitch. We do this in the technical part. We do it in the tactical part. Of course, in conditioning, and also in the mental part, in the personality part, to analyze the personality, to work out goals for developing, and to give individual help to become a great football player. And I want to show you also quality now. On such players. Let me finish this presentation. I want to give you some tips for the training sessions and what for me is very important. The first is, after a training session, you should ask yourself, was football played? Or did we only exercise? Was football played? The second is, did learning of football actions take place? Or we are only moving the ball? And the third is, did the players enjoy the training session? Have they been motivated? And of course, was it, especially in youth football, was it characteristic being properly taken into account the age and the age group? Yes. You can use many exercises, but you have to adapt to the quality of the players and the age group. And the exercises, in my opinion, must be game related. For me, one of the best exercises is a 7 against 7 plus 3 if you train the whole system. You can see here the last 4. In a 4, the 3 midfielders and a striker and 2 wingers. Again, last 4, the midfield and the 3 strikers. You play the game in position, and the wingers 7, 11 and the midfielder 6 are joker. So if you lose the ball, the other team is coming in a 4-3-3 position. The wingers are going up and play with a blue team. You are training in the positioning game. You are training wing play. You are training line play, the midfield play, and you are building 4-3-3, the whole system. You are training with the whole team. Very game-related training exercise. And at the end, it must be that the exercises are football realistic. It must be that the players have many repetitions and age and talent appropriate. You cannot do the same with an academy team, with a grassroots team, or with a professional team. It's not possible. You must do it appropriate to the age and the quality of the players. And the last is your coaching. Not only to speak, to have your coaching points before and you influence the players. Really to improve the players, to influence the players, to help the players out of your coaching, not only to speak or to shout. So I want to come to an end and also to thank you for your attention. And I want to show you a last video clip, but the last video clip out of football. It's a video clip, perhaps also we can use it good for our crisis. And I know that you have also had in your coaching career some defeats and you have been very sad about this or demotivated. But have a look on this. For me, always the coaches who stand up are the best ones. Stand up again and again and go forward. And I think also we should come out of this crisis stronger than we have been before. I wish you all that you stay safe and take care, and would be nice to see you soon in Israel. Thanks a lot for your attention.
תודה רבה. אתם שומעים אותי? תודה רבה לוילי. Thank you very much. As always, a professional and interesting lecture. Before Liron will present the questions, I want to ask Sharon Zeevi to tell something to the coaches. בועז, אם אתה יכול לפתוח לשרון רגע.
פתחתי.
שרון.
כולם, hi Willie, how are you?
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you for this lecture. I would like to update everybody about Friday, so I'll speak in Hebrew. ביום שישי אנחנו בשעה 12 נערוך מפגש בזום עם וילי בנושא שיטת המשחקים ל9-9. אז אנחנו נשמח מאוד שתגיעו, נשלחו מיילים לכל האגודות, אנחנו גם נפרסם את זה בפייסבוק וגם דרך איגוד המאמנים. נשמח שתגיעו מ-12, אני מאמינה שזה ייקח שעה, שעה וחצי, ונעשה גם סקירה קצרה על הגרסרוץ ומה המהות שלו, ונשמח מאוד שתצטרפו. יום שישי הקרוב, ה1 במאי. תודה.
תודה, שרון. ניסים ישנו איתנו? ניסים בכר. ניסים בכר איתנו?
בואו נראה, אני אחפש אותו. אני לא רואה אותו.
טוב, לירון, בבקשה.
אוקיי, עכשיו פתוח. טוב. So Willy, the first question is from Aviv. Can you hear
Yes.
me? Okay.
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, he asked why in Israel we don't have a football Bible that all clubs must walk through this guide.
Good question, very good question. I say, let me answer in this way. To have the Bible, this is what I mean with our products in coach education and the philosophy, what we want to produce an app. I have not the opinion that all clubs must do this because it's not possible. This is no country, but I think they will choose if this is really good. So in my opinion, to have a Bible, I agree totally with him. We're working on this and I hope that I can finish it till the end of the year and that we can offer it to all coaches all over Israel.
Second question by Leo. He asked, you spoke about set pieces. So when
Yes.
you said set pieces are very important to considered games, but in your opinion, is it important for the long term to work it during the session in new departments? And from which age group, if you think it's important, from which age group to start?
Age group, this is very simple to give an answer. Do you have a set piece in 9 against 9 with 11 years? Yes, of course, you have it. You have it in under 14, you have it in under 17 and under 19 at the end of youth football. You have it in the second team, you have it in the professional football. So if we have it in the game, we should train game related. The question is, how often we are doing this? I think we must do it with concentration and very, very focused. And also, as you remember what Shevchenko said, it should be with intensity, because if you train it in low quality, often it's not running in the game. Game related, and you can do it with more, in a good, better conditioning at the beginning of the training, but you can also try to do it between and at the end, because also in the real game, you have set pieces on the beginning of the game and also at the end of the game. But in principle, when you are learning something, you shouldn't be fatigued.
Okay, and the third and last question by Snir. In your opinion, you suggest us to use several tactics during the games and to change it because of the rival, or to, for example, if we are playing patient when holding the ball, and after that we want to play direct and gegenpressing and change our method because of the rival.
Yeah, I think it's necessary also in education to have flexibility and not only to stay on one system and one, or if you want, playing style. I think it's important that you can change the rhythm of the game. And I speak here especially about professional football. Champions League is highest level of football. I think here we have quality players, but it's also possible with a first league team in Israel, a second league team in Israel, because these are good players. I think also to challenge the player is important in the training process. If you do always the same, they are becoming not so motivated. And if you challenge them, often you see, oh, he has a great quality, it's becoming better and better. And you are often surprised by performances of players.
Okay, thank you. So these are the questions for now.
תודה רבה, וילי.
תודה רבה to everybody, and best regards to Israel.
Sorry, we didn't hear you in the last sentence.
I said best regards to all coaches and the whole population to Israel, and I wish you all the best and hopefully seeing soon.